Despite the fact that the American Constitution prohibits the imposition of unusually cruel sentences, it has happened more than once in the history of the United States that criminals have been sentenced to terms that a person simply cannot serve. Today, you will see the top 5 criminals in the United States by term of imprisonment. Opens our list of the person who was sentenced. Charles Scott Robinson from Oklahoma was sentenced to the longest prison sentence here. In 1994, the court ruled that the criminal would imprison for 30,000 years. Robinson was convicted on 6 counts of rape and sentenced to 5,000 years for each crime. He had to serve all these terms in a sequential order. In 4th place, for similar reasons, memorable it became a matter of James Egan Holmes. In July 2000, he opened fire at the Aurora cinema, Colorado, killing 12 people and wounding 70 more. Holmes was convicted twice for each victim killed, because in Colorado has a conviction for planned or premeditated murder, as well as for murder committed with extreme indifference. As a result, Holmes received 12 life sentences and another 3,318 years for other atrocities. This decision was justified by the fact that the criminal must fully answer for every life he has chosen. Our troika is opened by Terry Lynn Nichols, an American domestic terrorist convicted of conspiring with Timothy McVeigh in the Oklahoma City bombing plot. Prior to his incarceration, he worked in various short-term jobs, working as a farmer, elevator manager, real estate salesman, and factory worker at the ranch. He met Timothy McVeigh during his short service in the U.S. Army, which ended in 1989, when he asked for a discharge in difficult conditions after less than a year of service. In the 1990s and 1950s, he conspired with McVeigh in the planning and preparation of a truck bombing at the Alfred Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. On April 19, 1995, 168 people were killed in the explosion. At a federal trial in '97, Nichols was found guilty of conspiracy to use weapons of mass destruction and 8 counts of manslaughter for the murder of federal law enforcement officers. As a result, Terry Nichols was given 161 life sentences without parole, and his partner was executed some time later. And so in 2nd place, we have Michael John Devlin, an American criminal convicted of kidnapping and child sexual abuse of 2 young boys, Sean Hornbeck and Ben Ownby. He is serving 74 life sentences plus 2,020 years at the West Missouri Correctional Center in Cameron, Missouri. His total term is 4,240 years. On January 12, 2007, Devlin was taken into custody and charged with kidnapping a 13-year-old Ben Ownby, whom the police found that day and whom Devlin had been kidnapped for days earlier. At the time of his discovery, law enforcement officers had found another missing boy, Sean Hornbeck. He disappeared on October 6, 2002. Then he was 11 years old when he rode his bike to a friend's house in Richwoods, Missouri. No one had heard from him until he was found in Devlin's apartment. In the first place, we have the convicted Crucius. In August 2019 committed one of the bloodiest attacks in the United States, during which 23 people were killed and at least 20 injured. Convicted Crucius in August of the 19th year committed one of the bloodiest attacks in the United States, during which 23 people were killed and at least another 20 are wounded. On August 3 of the same year, the shooter purposefully arrived in El Paso from the city of Allen and opened fire with an AUK-47 assault rifle at Mexican-born customers in a Walmart store. In conclusion, I would like to note that the length of imprisonment is not just the number of years spent behind bars. It's a whole life filled with hardships, restrictions, and the struggle for survival. Each of these the prisoner has gone through his own path full of mistakes, crimes, and consequences. Their stories remind us of the importance of following the law and respecting the rights of others. Charles Scott Robinson became the first in the list for the longest prison sentence. His story leaves a bitter taste of hopelessness in the memory. Sentenced to 30,000 years in prison for a series of rapes, each of which earned him 5,000 years in prison, Robinson became a symbol of the inhumane approach to criminal justice. However, outside the walls of a prison cell, he probably gained a new understanding of life deprived of freedom and habitual comfort. James Egan Holmes, who took the 4th place in the list, became the object of the world's attention after his terrible crime at the Aurora cinema. His name has become synonymous with madness and cruelty. Holmes was sentenced not just to 1 life sentence, but to 12, plus another 3,318 years. Such an unusually long period was the result of the painstaking work of lawyers and forensic experts who sought to answer the question of how to punish each murdered victim. Terry Lynn Nichols, who occupies the third line of the list, appeared in court as a terrorist involved in a conspiracy with Timothy McVeigh in planning an explosion in Oklahoma City. His life before his arrest was very diverse, but his immersion in the world of terrorism led to him becoming one of the most famous prisoners in the United States. 161 life sentences without parole became his lot, reflecting the seriousness of his crimes and the depth of the loss inflicted on society. Michael John Devlin, who took second place on the list, is disgusted and horrified by his crimes against children. His 74 life sentences and an additional 2,020 years in the West Missouri Correctional Center were a testament to the ruthlessness of the law in response to his terrible deeds. The story of the abduction and sexual abuse of two young boys has left its mark on the memory of many, reminding them of the horrors a person can commit. At the top of the list is the name of the convicted Crucius, a man whose actions shocked the whole country. His attack in El Paso, which killed 23 people, left its mark on the history of the United States. Crucius has become a symbol of madness and cruelty, attracting the attention of society and unleashing discussions about the causes and consequences of such tragedies. These stories are not only shocking, but also make us think about justice, morality, and the values of our society. They remind us of the need to fight crime, protect the innocent, and ensure justice for all.